Excuse
Four,
me.
three, two, one. This is the J08, also known as Jeremy J. Guillory. And today on the Broken Turnbuckle, we have Classic Mike back.
Hey, a lot of stuff's going on, and so I finally got a chance to come back, folks. Well, I'm back.
Yes. So
Uh,
um, today um, we are not going to be showing any images. It's just going to be us talking. And today we are going to be talking about um, Macho Man Randy Savage.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So, um,
Okay.
Mike, what do you remember most about Macho Man?
Let's see. A lot. Um, let's see. There's a lot to cover. I got Mega Powers. They got Miss Elizabeth, of
Yeah,
course. Don't know why she's not in Hall of Fame yet. That's easy. She's not. Um, his personal stuff that happened outside the ring.
yeah,
His betrayals in real life.
right.
His death. That could be, and that could be prevented if he be alive today if he did what he didn't do. He was worried about his mom at the time.
Yeah.
There's so much to cover on. So
Yes.
much to talk.
Yes. Um, so just so y'all know that today's episode is not going to be edited at all. So this is going to be a very pretty long episode. So apologies, y'all would probably already see the timestamp or anything unless it's the live premiere for this.
Okay,
So
do this.
yes, believe it or not, as covered in many Macho Man documentaries, um, Randy Poffo um, was a son of a wrestler, um, Angelo Poffo,
Yep.
and he originally did not want to do wrestling at all. He wanted to be a baseball player, and he actually got signed with the Cincinnati Reds.
Yep.
Yes, Cincinnati Reds,
This A-Reds.
and um, he was fairly good at um, at baseball, and he had 16 home runs and 129 runs batted in. And after they cut him, he just took a ceremonial bat to the tree, broke the bat, and said he was done with it. And he contacted his father and went on to wrestling. And the rest of his career is well known history. Um, Now, he did bring his wife into the wrestling business, Miss Elizabeth,
Mm-hmm.
as we all know her.
Yep.
Um, they had their own love story as itself, and they were already married at the time of their on screen wedding, um, I believe. So, um,
Well, yes and no. They try to save their marriage during the time.
yeah,
That's why, because he's away a lot, and she didn't see him a lot, and they're intent of trying to keep your relationship by bringing her on the road, but that didn't work out. They got
yeah,
divorced after that.
yeah.
But the characters they still play characters on screen as married couple.
Yeah. The crazy thing is about talking about Macho Man Randy Savage or even Miss Elizabeth, you cannot keep them separated from each other. You have to talk about both of them. You cannot just talk about one or the other. The-
Right, because we already know what happened after that, so that's
y-
well known.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy there. So yeah, most of the time when it comes to people want to talk about just Randy Savage, you have to talk about Miss Elizabeth as well.
Yep,
It's
yep.
I mean that's very hard. The most thing that I remember from Randy Savage is um, the Slim Jim commercials they did.
Yep.
Um, I just remember mostly segments that he's been in, TV segments, the Weird Al moment where he came on Weird Al, um, things like that. Um, when he was actually a wrestler, I never seen, I never saw him wrestle in any of the shows that I watched. I had to actually dig in after his passing to find actually wrestling matches that he was in, and that includes WrestleMania, WCW matches. I mean, um,
Hmm.
because in the '90s, his wrestling matches were very few, far between, and sparse. At that
Yeah,
point,
he's dealing with injuries.
yeah,
This plus was all about Hulk Hogan. That's the reason.
yeah, yeah, and um, his relationship with Hulk Hogan is very out there. Um,
Yep, we all know.
so when it comes to how do you think that it was very professional between him and Hulk Hogan, or do you think it was very personal? Like,
Basically, him and Hogan became friends outside the ring, and their wives talked to each other and stuff. But
yeah,
he thought when Elizabeth went to visit Hogan and Linda at the time, he thought she was whoa sleeping with Hogan. He
yeah,
got his jealousy. He kept her basically. She'd talk to all the wrestlers, or talk to the women people, or the wives, because she was always locked up when he's in the ring. He was
yeah,
very protective of her, and she was on the road, and she kept locking her in the locker room so no one talked to her. This little later on, when they started, or when he started going by himself, and she started talking to everybody else,
yeah, yeah,
and that's when the marriage started to sour. But when they're in WCW, they're already divorced. They're just still doing on-screen characters. They're still friends. So Lex Luger stepped in, and then that's when everything fell apart even
yeah,
more.
yeah,
He left because he was doing a lot of drugs, and he finally quit them things, and she wouldn't do it.
yeah,
That's another reason.
yeah. When it came to the Hulk Hogan feud, um, how how much of that do you think that they would actually talk about backstage, saying, "Hey, let's do this," or "Let's do that," or do you think that they actually said, let's bring all this other stuff that we've already hashed out previously up to the front for this?
Well, basically, it was a storyline.
Yeah,
He didn't like home, but he's professional, right? Because he wouldn't bring his real life into a lot more real life between him and Hogan. No one knew about the time. The wrestling's private, so
yeah,
basically, he kept working professional with each other, professionally. You know,
yeah,
when Vince said goes, as the contract, this contract says.
yeah,
If you go, he has basically lost his job, but but basically he was his jealousy and stuff. And real, he wouldn't talk to Hogan unless it's about the match. Real life, he stopped talking to him.
yeah,
But recent year before he died, he started talking to Hogan again.
yeah,
That's why Hogan said he should have got that thing looked at instead of worrying about his mother, because he would have been alive today if he got that taken care of.
yeah,
He wouldn't have been dead, because that's what happened. He had a heart attack from that complication he had that Hogan had a long time ago that he got taken care of. I forgot what it was, but something like stomach or something. He
yeah,
could have had that fixed. One had a heart attack.
yeah.
He'd still be around today. Now, what he didn't want to because he was worried about his mom
Yeah.
instead of
So,
himself.
yeah. Do you
That's what.
remember the diss track that Randy Savage did on Hulk Hogan?
Which one? Everything?
Yeah,
Uh, See, let's see. They did the well. They were friends first when he got in
They
WWE.
were
You know,
friends first, but
then they did
in
that
like
tag team, and
2006, he made a diss track to Hulk Hogan.
yeah, but the fight happened way before 2006. It was during the days of WCW that it really came forward, and he was getting many matches because of it. Then he got angry and started doing, bringing his personal life in a little bit.
Yeah,
And that's why everybody started fighting on him and Hogan did not get along.
yeah. The
And then
video was
2006, he did an album that diss track about Hogan.
called "Be a
But
Man."
before he died, him and Hogan reconciled, started talking again.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
then he did the album and then did the diss track on Hogan.
yeah,
So
yeah. So there's a lot of debate on whether or not their feud was actually real or if it was more a
the
work.
feud was storyline. It wasn't that the wrestling
Yeah,
feud was storyline. It was professional.
yeah, yeah,
But the personal business was their personal business. He didn't attack Hogan or nothing, just stayed away from him.
yeah,
Because he wouldn't that's because you heard never him outside ring hitting anybody or beating anybody when he's mad at.
yeah,
That's one thing he's special about. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll see some green in his side. I don't know what's going on.
yeah,
I was letting him know in case we saw these videos, you'll see what I see. You know?
yeah,
He's turning green. Oh, if I'm turning green or not, I don't know. Maybe we're both turning green.
yeah.
Maybe we're Martians.
Um,
Sorry, I'm
do
joking.
you remember what all Macho Man did before he went to WWE wrestling wise?
Yes, his father owned a small organization rival to Jerry Lawler's, and he was the being star there. Wasn't big. It was just a small organization. Wasn't that big until they had a feud with Jerry Lawler's. I think it was Continental at the time, and he saw Randy wrestle. He liked the way Randy wrestled. So after his father's organization crumbled, he let Randy Savage come to the CWA and under his wrestling ring, and he was wrestling under him for a short time. Jimmy Hart liked the way he wrestled, so he contacted Vince. Because Jimmy Hart did the contact, and Vince looked at him and said he liked him too. So grab up there, talk, got from the contract, and he said yes. It was Jimmy Hart, the one Richie brought to take to Vince McMahon when he saw him on TV one night. And Jerry Lawler told me he's a good wrestler. He's always professional. He's professional personal life alone. At the time, he was a newlywed at the time when he was in CWA because he just married Elizabeth.
Yeah,
So he wanted to bring her in as a manager. That's why he did that manager thing, just to bring her in. Vince didn't mind.
yeah, yeah. So in 1985, he signed with the WWE, known
After
as
he was with Continental Wrestling or USW, I don't know. It was USW. I don't know, but I know it was around the time it was Continental before he changed it
yeah,
years later
yeah.
to USWA.
Then he so how would you describe his Macho Man character? Uh,
Aggressive,
aggressive,
no holds barred,
yeah,
wild man.
yeah, so,
That's how he was wrestling. Well, he got the name Savage when he was still with Continental, and Ole Anderson was working with him at the time. He
yeah,
said he wrestled like a savage. He was going on his real name at the time, but then when he said he wrestles like a savage, Randy decided to change the name to Savage before when it was in Continental.
yeah,
It was like first he was doing Randy Poffo, and then when Ole Anderson called him a Savage, they gave him and Jerry the idea and call him Savage. So he won't live on his father's name, wanted to make his own career.
exactly.
That's what he did.
And
And no one knew he's a Poffo until years later. And they found him and Lenny, because it was him got Lenny in the organization. Because they
yeah,
wouldn't leave unless his brothers with him. And that's how he figured out. And years later, you figure out when you're talking about his biography, then you figured out his last name was either brothers.
now for his brother, as you just mentioned, and I was about to mention this too, that he brought his brother into the WWE.
That's the only way he'll join WWE. His brother joined him.
Yes.
That was
So
the contract.
did to your knowledge, did he and Lenny ever do any kind of segments or any matches together?
No, they kept it separate because no, like I said, nobody knew they were brothers. They refused to wrestle each other
Okay.
because they had too much respect for each other. Because they know that Randy was more of a wrestler than Lenny. Lenny was an okay wrestler, but he didn't wrestle much.
Yeah.
But Randy was a better wrestler. He knew Randy would kick his butt, and Randy's father didn't want him to wrestle his brother at all, just to protect him, but he needed it.
Yeah.
But basically, he left. Basically, they were on their own. They never contacted each other, not contacted each other. They did interviews with each other. They did their own thing.
Yeah.
Because at the time, you couldn't do brother against brother issues in the '80s because it wasn't right. Just the '90s, they changed everything, but they didn't wrestle each other at all. When Randy went to WCW, Lenny didn't go at all. Because Lenny retired
Okay.
at the time. Maybe he was doing his started doing his, going to college, doing the speaking thing. He was doing after that.
Right.
So he left wrestling. Randy stayed there till the best he could.
Yeah.
He couldn't wrestle anymore, so he left. So they never wrestled each other.
Okay.
They refused to.
Yeah. And let's see. He's also had a few during his time with WWE. He had notable feuds with. I believe he had a feud with Jake the Snake Roberts at one time.
Let me think.
He, yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
The
it wasn't a bit. It was a small feud. It wasn't that long.
Yeah, it
I feud with
wasn't
Jake.
that long, but the main thing
It
that
was
people
short. It
remember
was short.
is
What was one of the shorter ones? The longer ones he did is with Hogan, George Animal Steel, Ricky, the Dragon Steamboat. Those are the three long feuds I remember he
yeah,
did. Ricky was a year was the longest because it was a year,
yeah. I believe he
and
also
the,
did
and
Ultimate
Hogan was
Warrior.
like a 4 or 5. Everybody says Hogan. No, Hogan was like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, I think he also did Ultimate Warrior once too.
Yeah, he did. He could stand wrestling on Warrior. On Warrior didn't know what the frick he was doing.
Yeah, and he also had a
That's the night. That's the night that Cherry. Yeah, he Warrior beat Randy before he supposed to be retired. And Bizzle came back
yeah, and
that night.
he also
That's the only time he wrestled him.
yeah,
He never wrestled him again. He refused to.
yeah, and he also wrestled Ric Flair at WrestleMania once too.
Yep. He said it was the best. He said Ric Flair knew what he was doing. He wasn't used to taking long matches. That's what he was. He's always short matches. That's like a almost as long as the WrestleMania match, but with
Yeah,
Steamboat. But he said it's a little bit slower pace wasn't used to, but it made him look better.
yeah,
Basic technical wrestling,
yeah,
which he rarely paced. Because Steamboat wasn't technical. Steamboat was everything. That's why the Clash so good. They were similar styles. Ric Flair liked to take it to slow paces way to make like longer matches. Randy wasn't used to it. But he only wrestled him like one time. That was it.
WrestleMania 4, the main event. Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase.
The tournament.
Yes, the tournament. Ted DiBiase is still bitter over that loss, believe it or not. Um, and that's not even in his character.
Basically, the way it ended up, he didn't want. They wanted Hogan to interfere. He didn't want that. He wanted to lose cleanly, but Vince pushed him doing that was the biggest thing. He wasn't mad at Randy. He's mad at Vince. He told him to take the chair. He didn't want to. He wanted to lose it in the ring.
Yeah,
But that's the way Vince wanted it. And that's why he's so bitter about it because it could have been a better match if no one interfered. Because he was supposed to lose that night anyhow, but
yeah,
Hogan wanted to be part of it because Hogan couldn't stay out of the spotlight. That was the reason he wasn't part of the main event. That's why he did it that way. And DiBiase's still mad about that, the way it turned out. That was the reason. He had nothing against Savage. It was just the way business was back then.
yeah,
Towards it, a lot of the spontaneous, they didn't know about it. And it told Hogan to go out. He didn't know about it. Randy didn't know about it either. Vince ran things a long time ago.
Yeah,
I ran it.
yeah. Now we do need to
Spontaneously do the endings.
yeah,
Spontaneously.
we do need to go into more detail about the mega powers for this.
Okay.
So
We talked about with Hogan before. That wasn't that long ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So for the mega powers, it was him and Hogan, and Miss Elizabeth was the manager. Um, Remind me on how the team started overall.
Okay, it was Saturday night's main event. Randy Savage went after the Hot Tub Man. He had a feud with him because he wanted Elizabeth.
Yeah,
And then I forgot who was the Hartfeld, I think, was in there with him when they attacked Randy Savage after the match. And they shoved Elizabeth because he's going to hit him with the guitar. And then Elizabeth ran and got Hogan. Hogan went in and started cleaning house. And after that, they shook hands, and that's how it started. I don't know if it was a Hart Foundation or not. I forgot what TT it was. I think it was Hart. I wasn't sure. Because they're both all managed by Jimmy Hart at the time.
yeah.
But I think it was the Harts, that foundation that were helping him. He
I
cleaned
know
up.
there
They
was
cleaned
one
up.
point where they had a feud against the Twin Towers tag team.
Which one?
The I believe it was the Twin Towers or the Two Towers tag team.
No. I forgot what the $1 million team. I don't know what they were called at the time. Him and Andre. That kind of didn't work out because Andre was getting so sick. They only could do certain things. That's why Andre was in the match at a much because he couldn't do limited things. He didn't want Hogan to slam him again because of his back problems. So he had lower back problems at the time too after WrestleMania 3.
Yeah,
And it wasn't much of a feud because mostly it was Ted DiBiase. It wasn't much. I think it was that great a feud when you look at years later. But you can see Andre constantly in pain. He wasn't in the match much. That's why he can only do limited things at the time. You know, but I didn't wrestle that much
yeah.
the rest of his life. So that was okay, but it didn't last very long. It's short. And they do it. And when they could do it, they could do it with them. They wanted them both of them to wrestle each other next WrestleMania. Hogan
Actually,
won the belt back.
yeah, they did do a feud with the Twin Towers, Big Boss Man and Akeem.
Yeah, that too. You
But
got that
yeah,
one too. I was too sure on that because that was a short feud also. It wasn't that long
very,
feud.
very short.
If it was a long feud, I remember, but I said it was Man's team. That's why he put themselves together after the Honky Tonk Man incident, and then
Yeah, he eventually
Twin
wanted to
Towers.
go.
I forgot to. Yeah, but that feud didn't last long either.
Yeah,
That's why I really don't remember that one.
yeah, and then they broke up. He battled Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship,
He
lost
lost it out.
lost the belt, and
That's the
then
Hogan.
he eventually went on to the King of the Ring, became Macho King, and then they did his first retirement thing. He ended up,
He was forced because Biz didn't want to wrestle anymore. I don't know
yeah,
why. So
yeah. So, um, and then let's see, after his time on commentary, he left WWE for WCW.
right.
Um, and he was in the match in the 6-man tag team match at Bash at the Beach against the um, damn that name just slipped me. It was Hulk. It was Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, and it was the team that they went by a different team name before Hogan came on. Help me
The
remember
Outsiders.
the Outsiders. Yes.
They were always the Outsiders when they came. They didn't have a team name for them until basically a few weeks before the third man came. They just started calling them Outsiders.
Yeah.
He
So
kept calling him
there's
that,
the
calling him that. They didn't go by
Outsiders.
the name till they didn't go by the name until a few weeks before Hogan joined them.
Yeah.
They started going by the Outsiders after, before that. So
And then Hulk Hogan comes out. Um, Randy Savage is already on the
Bash the
ground.
Beach.
Yeah. Hogan gives him the leg drop,
As
and
him, I think it was DDP. I'm not sure whose partner was that night.
I think it was Randy Savage, Sting, and probably
Sting, thank you. Sting, yeah, thank you. I remind myself. Still a little tired right now, so I'm trying to
yeah,
think. I just woke up a little while ago, so
yeah,
still doing nights, folks.
yeah. So we, you have all those teams
Right.
there. Bash to the Beach happens, and then um, he still tries to do feuds with NWO. Ends up joining NWO.
Yeah.
Um, does things with them for a little bit, and then he's off and on. The most things that I remember from that time is him in the WCW video games. That's really about it with that.
You got Slim Jim, brought Slim Jim to them too, because he has
The
contract
Slim
with
Jim
Slim Jim.
commercials. He was doing
Well,
Slim
basically,
Jims.
basically, he stopped wrestling 'cause he's still with his personal demons. That was the time he hit rock bottom.
Yeah,
He's trying to get off the drugs, went to rehab. That's why he wasn't wrestling much.
yeah,
He had a clean break, did rehab, clean himself up. Then he became motivational speaker after that too. So he wanted to clean himself up, but at the same time, he wanted Elizabeth to do the same thing. She refused.
yeah,
They were estranged again
yeah. Then
after that.
after Miss Elizabeth passed away, you started seeing him less and less more. I'm at that
Yeah,
point.
because like I said, he was dealing with personal demons and stuff, trying to clean himself up and get his life back together.
Yeah,
And then he started doing personal speaking engagements, did a few movies, tried to do stuff outside of wrestling because his body wasn't couldn't take it no more because he's getting too old. He want to end up like Hulk. You don't want to end up like Hulk Hogan. Keep wrestling, keep wrestling, keep wrestling, or showing image. That's how he was. He's a private person, basically. His personal life was public.
yeah,
That's how he was. He's very protective about his personal life.
yeah,
That's why he didn't know a lot about these things till after he passed away. Did biographies on him. That's when he started to learn more about the person behind the scenes. That's one thing he didn't want. He wanted to do biographies on him, he refused. Anyone do any biographies until he died. As he started doing biographies on him.
yeah,
All he did is talk about his in-ring matches, nothing personal. Every time he did a thing for Randy Savage, because he said no.
yeah,
In the contract, he said no. Personal life is personal life. He didn't want no one involved. So that's the thing we didn't know about until years later after he passed. We found most of his personal life what he did after wrestling.
yeah.
So, like I said, a
And
lot of it was personal. So we didn't know what he was doing. I know he's fighting demons for his drug addiction, but that's about
yeah,
it.
I mean, there's just so much stuff personally that people did not know about him
You know,
that I mean, he
just
kept
like
everything.
because a lot of wrestlers at the time they want to do Hogan's Hug Life is Hug Life years later, but a lot of protect
Yeah,
about their personal, like because
yeah,
they wanted the personal
yeah.
life.
And believe it or not, after Miss Elizabeth died, no one knew that him and Miss Elizabeth had actually been divorced for so many years until after her passing. And someone actually asked him, how did he feel about, you know, did he have anything to say about it? And he said, well, no, me and her have been divorced for about like what, 5, 10 years since then. So he really didn't have much to say about her passing during that time.
But he was hurt.
He was
He
hurt.
didn't know how to express himself.
Yeah,
He didn't want to put his foot in his mouth because after her passing, he sent flowers to the family.
yeah,
They knew they knew he was still in love with his heart. He still loved her. He knew it didn't work out because of his stuff and her stuff. And her at the time she was while they're back together, not married, but they tried to reconcile. Lex Luger stepped in the picture.
Yeah.
That's what broke them up again and as friends.
Yeah.
It was Luger because he's getting drugs from Luger and sleeping with him at the time. And Randy broke ties with her. He didn't want him. He cared about her still. He wanted her off the stuff, but she wouldn't leave it. So he couldn't be with her because he didn't think he was going to get back in the drug scene, which he didn't want to do.